サーバントというのか。名はないが、あり方としてはそうだな。原種の一と呼ぶがよい。
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Today, I have a special treat for you guys, and well, we will be going full in, balls deep into one of my favorite characters from the Nasuverse, Archetype Earth. I've been asked countless times to make a video about her. People always ask me, where does she scale? How powerful is she? Do I like her titties? Why haven't I made a video about her yet? I literally cannot fit all the information about Archetype Earth into a 12 to 13 minute video. No way. And remember guys, half of that 12 to 13 minute video is another character too. So it would be like an 18 to 20 minute video for just no, physically impossible. No way. So that's why I decided to make a full-on video dedicated to Archetype Earth, which I don't think any of you guys will complain about that, to be honest. Also, can we stop calling Nasu planet level? Really? Seriously though, if you guys do want more videos like these where I talk about one character in particular, leave a like on the video, comment down below on who you would like to see. I know I'm gonna see Persona, but let me know who you would like to see. And if you like the video and all that stuff, you know, comment down and everything, and you know, say what you want. I'll get you one of those really rare Blackbird stealth machine aircrafts from the military. I got friends who have connections, who has connections to more connections. Alright, I've wasted enough of your guys' time. Let's get on to why Archetype Earth literally solos 99% of all anime. I'm gonna leave that 1% because there are actually characters in anime and fiction that are above her, but I will get to that later. For this video, we are going to be talking about all forms of Archetype Earth. That would include Arcueid, full power Arcueid, and so on. I have to talk about the weaker forms first, as because, well, first of all, Archetype Earth already has all the abilities prior to all the previous forms of Arcueid, if that makes sense. So anything I talk about through Arcueid and her forms leading up to Archetype Earth in her final form has every single power. I don't know how I made that sound more confusing, but to be very clear, she has every single power that I talk about. Let's start things off about base form Arcueid. Arcueid is stated that she can be as powerful as 5 servants even when compared to Gilgamesh. Even if we take a look at the series Tsukihime, Arcueid is 4 times more powerful than any servant. Thus, Arcueid should be as powerful as many different types of servants, like for example, one who can lift an entire airplane and roll it. Yeah, I use Yo New York specifically for this video. Others can shatter mountains, and then others upon others can melt the ground, leaving large craters. Ain't that right, Karna? By the way, Arcueid is stated to be the strongest among the fighters in Tsukihime. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Arcueid can throw hands with motherfuckers. The Moon Princess out here with hands being rated E for everyone. So because of this, she should be stronger than Neko Arc. Yes, Neko Arc is actually playable here as well. Plus, Neko Arc was actually shown to have blown up the sun and nuked the entire galaxy, alongside with their textures. Taking a look at Arcueid's base stats, she's quite powerful. She has A+ strength, so she's very strong compared to a lot of different servants. Oh yeah, we're just going balls in deep, just showing how powerful she is right off the start. Arcueid can warp reality just by stepping. No, I'm not kidding. She can literally warp all of reality by moving her foot. What's more is that she is capable of overwhelming and destroying Seal, or even Shiki Tono. Poor Seal and poor Shiki, they never had a chance in hell, did they? She even easily kept up with Neverkisser's monsters. I'm not good with these names, don't even get me started on that. But such as the Wolves and even Roa's Deads. But this is kind of irrelevant because when we get to her final form, she actually has irrelevant speed, making her have the fastest speed feat in all of power scaling. But sure, I just wanted to add that in there because we're talking talking about base Arcueid. Here's the other thing. She used to kill Roa, the same Roa who had strong immortality of reincarnating over and over and over again. Damn, she is such a badass. Vampire Moon Princess clapping cheeks in base form. Yeah, I bet you don't see Goku doing that in base form. But now let's move on to Arcueid's next form. We will be talking about Arcueid in her full power form, and another term for that is called Red Arcueid. While weakened, Arcueid is the only character in the Fate Extra verse series franchise. I don't know what you want to call it. The Fate Extra timeline, that's what it is. Who can be golden white face, also known as Amaterasu, also known as Tamamo no Mai when she grows all 9 of her tails. By the way, Tamamo, with only 2 tails with the mythological mystic code, can counter BB even when the latter fuses with the moon cell and can defeat her. The moon cell simulates and controls the earth as well as microwism, recording every reality, possibility, and impossibility, and encompasses all digital space, known as Seraph. For those who do not know, the moon cell is already scaled to low outer versal to outer versal. I did talk about the cosmology about this in my other video. So with that being said, I highly suggest you go watch that video to get a more in-depth look about the moon cell and why it scales to outer versal. Arcueid is a berserker, and if she goes all out, she can become Red Arcueid, also known as Warcueid. As an evil Arcueid, she goes into a wild frenzy, becoming completely indiscriminate with her rage. Reveling in cruelty, all of her attacks have become more monstrous, and she enjoys trampling over foes with overwhelming force. She herself is possibly responsible for the moon cell's creation as well. Her presence inside the moon cell strains its systems, even though the moon cell suppresses her, it just suppresses her. Goto, who worships Arcueid, states that the moon cell is actually a part of her. Plus, let's not forget the fact that Arcueid was so powerful, she was capable of fighting an overwhelming Volv. Yeah, that's his name, Volv, if you haven't ever looked at Tsukihime. Low ancestors such as Volv are comparable to divine spirits, if you guys did not know. Her noble phantasm is Blutdeischwester, blood sisters. Like I told you guys, bro, I am not getting these words right. Or pronunciations hop off my nuts, man. She has an extremely powerful hacks. This is where when she is on the moon, or at least a moon texture, her enemy's powers are reduced to 1/6 while on Earth, and she is 6 times more powerful than ever. What the fuck? Still reading off a script and I still can't say these words correctly. Oh yeah, if you guys didn't already know this, Arcueid is called the Moon Princess. But did you guys know that she can drop full ass moons on people? Shut the fuck up. You didn't know that. You didn't know that until I told you. Liar, 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 liar. Now that we have talked about Arcueid and full power Arcueid, we can move on to the true ancestor and marble phantasm wielder Arcueid. Now, if it wasn't made kind of clear, Arcueid is in fact a true ancestor, or actually in fact, she is the perfect true ancestor. Oh, sorry, not perfect. The truest, strongest, perfect ancestor. In fact, she killed almost every other true ancestor. Now, there are some facts that we must talk about with the true ancestor before going any further, because these are very powerful and it helps give way to how powerful Arcueid is. So I'm not going to read off every single one of these scans, but I will just say, I'll just say it in chronological order so you can pause the screen just so you can read it, because this video will already be long enough and I don't want to make it any longer than it needs to be. So with that being said, we're going to go with fact 1, fact 2, fact 3, and fact 4. Hope you read all that information and got that down. Actually, there's gonna be so much information you're gonna have to remember, go back to in this video. But the dead apostles are seen as children that are compared to them. I'm not gonna explain what dead apostles are, so you better look that shit up yourself. This video, again, is already gonna be way too long and I am really lazy. She is capable of making magecraft comparable to that of divine spirits. She has complete authority over all phenomena and realities in the planet. And yes, this even includes the deepest textures on Earth, such as Avalon, that functions on alephic modality. If you guys forgot, I will briefly explain what a texture is, because you need to understand what a texture is to gauge Arcueid's power. It is very, very, very important. Earth has separate realities, some of them being parallel worlds to others being higher dimensions. These are referred to as the textures of reality. Textures play a very, very fundamental role within the Nasuverse and separate myths from one other myth to another myth to existence of the textures, which allows it for all myths within the Nasuverse to even exist without being contradictory to others which view it as such. Textures in Nasu are also referred to as layers of the fabric of reality. Once again, go watch my Nasu scaling video as I have way more information about textures there. But to give a TLDR, because it is so important for you guys to understand this, because again, Archetype Earth is above this and controls this. Each planet has its own textures and concepts. There are multiple textures on Earth, and these textures are composed as infinite parallel worlds and possibilities. Earth alone works on the quantum theory and many worlds interpretation. They are infinite in size as well as they are conceptual universes. Basically, Earth acts as some sort of universe, and there are actually infinite universes on the level of the many worlds interpretation. So for all of you Nasu down players, stop calling Nasu planet level. That just makes absolutely no sense if you used your brain to deduce logical conclusions, which you could find if you paid attention and if you actually just looked into the fucking verse.
Are you stupid?
The entire planet is her territory. Archetype Earth is ontologically superior to even divine spirits. Still, they can rarely be downgraded to their rank, but are still very powerful. She's unbound and uncontrollable by the counterforce. This means that she is so unaffected by the collective unconscious as they are fundamentally lack even autonomy as well. Beings like Archetype Earth have their own counterforces, and so they cannot be considered as divine spirits because they aren't even born nor controlled by the counterforce of Earth, unlike phantasmal and divine beings. At last, the most important thing about them is that they are descendants of the Brunstad of the Crimson Moon and Ultimate One, the same Crimson Moon who each ancestor wields a fraction of his powers. Just to clarify, when I say Archetype Earth, I am referring to the true ancestors. Arcueid is a true ancestor, we should all know that, but I want to be very crystal clear so you don't get lost in the sauce, because I know you will. Arcueid also has the power of marble phantasms. Because she can use this ability, this grants her the power to create whatever she wants from imagination. She has the power to warp reality to whatever she wants just by imagining it. That's power creep reality warping on a whole entire new level. Marble phantasm works on the clustering illusion theory of probability. You could compare it to like a reality marble if you guys would like, if it keeps things kind of simple. But they're not the same, but they're similar. Arcueid's reality marble is powerful enough that it seals off the cosmos and is beyond human comprehension. It can simply will the moon castle, otherwise called the Millennium Castle, into existence. A canopy that covers the entire planet and it's incomprehensible to human intellect. The marble phantasm is unknowable by humanity. Oh, also the collective unconscious included, that being the counterforce. It encompasses even the dreams, fantasies, conceptions, memories, and information within the counterforce, and so the entire cosmos. It can rearrange every atom in the planet and its universes into one where Arcueid can do whatever she imagines, manipulating the blueprint carved into the world's memories. In fact, each true ancestor has a marble phantasm, even her sister Altruge, who used it to curse Zappia into an infinite reincarnation with the Akashic records. Arcueid stopped that. Yes, the true ancestors also have access to the Akashic records as well. And if you guys didn't know, the Akashic records is the swirl of the root, and we all know the swirl of the root. Arcueid is so powerful that she literally goes as far to say is that there's no world that she cannot create with her imagination. This is literal textbook definition of a no limits fallacy with limitless power. Hey, serious question. Can Goku do that? What about Saitama? Maybe Rimuru? Oh, maybe Franklin Richards. No? Damn, that's crazy. Oh, and by the way, yes, she also has the ability to kill Roa. But it's not just Roa that she can kill. She can just kill fucking anybody. She can eviscerate anyone or anything from existence. Now we can move on to Arcueid when she is known as the Luminary body. So this one's a little bit confusing, or can be seen as a little bit confusing, but I'll try my best to like dumb it down to make it as simple as possible so you can retain all the information with this and more. Arcueid eventually unleashes her true potential. Her physical body gets torn out and unleashes an entity of pure light and magic. The Luminary form in essence is just the planet's life force and soul manifested in accordance with Arcueid's will, which shapes its vessel. Under normal circumstances, a vessel is supposed to be useful for efficiency when using the planet's resources, even in the inner sea of the planet, and so the deeper textures are under her influence. Like I said before, this is why understanding how powerful and how high skill textures are plays a huge part, because this right here clarifies and demonstrates that she can control textures even more, which I really wanted to nail in because it's very powerful. This form is so incredibly indeterminate to the level of humans that they could just refer to it as the highest order of being that humans are able to comprehend. None other than that which would just go by the name of God. It stands apart from the little worlds capable of being grasped by humans, but it defies human comprehension itself. Something that cannot be unraveled regardless of how they are, just regardless of how hard they think, period. The Luminary is said to have something akin to cognitive alteration effect against intelligent beings. Those who look from afar get the impression of something terrifyingly unknowable, while those who arrive close to it get an impression of something beautifully unknowable. Those who are enemies and are far away are to be killed without ever being shown the truth. Those who are close by are allies who only to be given a glimpse of what the divine truth is. This is exactly what happened to Shikitono when he got closer, where he will see the truth, something that is beautifully unknowable. This form is a mental phenomenon that manifests itself. It's a mere phenomenon that is neither dead nor alive, as the soul of the planet itself, the celestial egg that only exists in the inner sea of the planet under normal circumstances. The light that surrounds the heart of the Luminary is a mental energy of Arcueid, something created out of mental power. Because it's a mental form, only attacks Arcueid recognizes with her consciousness as having the capacity to harm her can actually do it. Under normal circumstances, all injuries she receives are instantly returned to normal. The heart of the Luminary is the soul of the planet itself, the celestial egg, the cemetery of stars, the heartbeat of life. It bears no lines or points of death. It is where all on Earth originates and where all on Earth returns back to, because it is the perfect killing and it is not feasible for the current Tonoshiki with his mystic eyes. A scratch is enough to disperse, and even then it's only possible because of Arcueid's power being within Roa. Anything her Luminary form foretells becomes truth. The planet's soul is endowed in such. Luminary is a manifestation of it, and it is the perfect life form that cannot be moved nor changed, with any change or fine-tuning to it, such as an appearance and so forth, being a change to the manifestation of it rather than the conscious deep within it or slash the planet's soul. Consequently, because of that, she's not an individual nor a particularity, and is rather a system, and as such it cannot be characterized as being alive. As the life force of the planet given form, she has a special religious cognitive defies alteration, which rejects human comprehension and rejects explanations, rejects identification, and rejects thought. In the end, memories of the planet are an extension of the world's soul, reaches the universe, human observation, and the endless ever-extending reach of mankind. They exist as dreams and memories as well. And that's why the Luminary body is capable of trapping the entirety of the cosmology into a single texture, which appeared to be infinitely vast for Tono. Oh, and by the way, the Luminary body is actually Archetype Earth herself, or at least a very close aspect of it. But now that we've covered what the Luminary body is, that leads us directly into Archetype Earth, one of the most strongest characters in all of Nasu. There are a couple entities that are above her, but she alone is without a doubt one of the most strongest characters in Nasu, and basically and arguably all of fiction. Like I said, that 1% that I didn't add on to the title of the video is because I know there are characters that are still above her. She is the ultimate one of Earth, therefore it's the strongest existence in it. Her voice can speak on behalf of the world as well. Archetype Earth embodies and premates mankind's hopes to survive. In the OG type moon, again before Fate Grand Order, she was stated by the narrator to be she was stated by the narrator to be the strongest servant ever to exist. But again, now I want to take a quick second here and pause. Since the release of Fate Grand Order, Archetype Earth is not the strongest character in all of Nasu. Not anymore. One entity that is far above her is Ort. Doing a video about Ort or that monster would be something else entirely, and people want me to do one, but pre-FGO, Archetype Earth was absolutely the strongest character in Nasu. Now, honestly, it's either Ort or there's a couple more characters that I don't want to say yet, but definitely Ort's above her, and then like I said, a couple more that I don't want to say right now. In a mere gesture, she can crave a canyon with a blast, defeating an army in the process. Oh, and of course, by the way, she's immune to the sun. right? Funny, out of all things, she's immune to the sun. Ooh. She casually outclassed Seal and even defeated her in a powered form. Archetype Earth hides within Arcueid's consciousness and can partially manifest in times when she is asleep. She was also about to stop the Earth's rotation. I don't understand why she's about to stop the Earth's rotation. Why not just stop it? But then again, if you really think about it, why would you want to stop the Earth's rotation if you're the protector of the Earth? So I guess it kind of makes sense when you slow it down. Oh, Arcueid. Also, keep in mind that when summoned as a servant in Fate Grand Order, she is massively nerfed. Where the best thing she can do is like cause an earthquake of a thunderstorm. In fact, it's like the same for the other strong servants as well. That's right, I'm talking about Saber, Void Shiki, and Kukulon. In a hypothetical fighting game with every Tsukihime cast member and a few others, not Melty Blood by the way, she wields the alt Shul as beams of light and alt Nagel. Oh my god. As a wind tunnel that reaches the heavens. Just like Arcueid, she only really uses 70% of her powers because it seals her vampiric impulses. She is neither the cheerful Arcueid nor the one that Roa caused to fall. She is instead the highest manifestation of life in the planet itself, an all-encompassing force. And the fact is that, well, Arcueid's nearly awakened origin is a fundamentally an absolute state of self that is stored in the Akashic records and has different levels. Again, Akashic Records, Swirl of the Root. You guys already know. I don't need to explain that. She is the brain of the planet and the soul of the planet too as well, which also proves that she is the Luminary body. Never mind. She is in fact a Luminary body. Just kidding. Oh yeah, also Arcueid can pull up some kind of like strand-like ability to either wound or kill her opponent. Archetype Earth is definitely broken, without a doubt. One of the most powerful characters in Tsukihime. I think it's quite obvious at this point in time. But among the top tiers of Type Moon, I mean, there are still some that are above her. Given everything that I have covered with her and about the whole entire Nasuverse cosmology, she easily scales to high transcendent plus. I have some friends that go back and forth with their scaling about her being even higher than high transcendent plus. I don't know how they do it, but they do. But damn. Don't forget the ultimate ones, including Archetype Earth, are the embodiments of every planet that follows its own concepts and common sense and consistently contains its own cosmos, which is why when the ultimate ones come to Earth, it's hard to combat them because they embody concepts from that of different Gaia concepts. True ancestors like Arcueid Brunstud, who are the personification of the world's will and consciousness, are also amongst one of the strongest in the cosmos. Celestial bodies having wills are also rooted in ancient Greek thought. It is said that the microism is the same as macroism, also known as the cosmos or the world, a notion rooted in ancient Greek thought. By extension on the world itself, it's regarded as a living entity just as postulated by Plato and Neoplatonists. Let's talk about the 5 books of elements in the Case Files anime or series, whatever. In it, he posed that the 5th element, quintessence, a fundamental element such that it makes up the celestial bodies. The element itself is considered to be immutable and unchangeable, and is the foundational cause for the stars and planets exhibiting such notion through undergoing unending circular motion. Well, because planets and celestial bodies have their essence, and it is one of the highest emanations of the root in the sensible world, each celestial body has its own entity that personifies it. As a matter of fact, there are actually many ultimate ones that are the celestial bodies in that universe, with each being its own. A prime example of this would be the ultimate one known as ORT, or Ort. This being can damage the links between the Throne of Heroes and heroic spirits. That is crazy in and of itself. If you guys don't know Nasu, that's a very, very high genuine feat. This takes us back to me saying that again, there are entities above Archetype Earth, Ort being one of them, as Ort is actually one of the strongest parameters in the universe and is stated to be one of the strongest by Type Moon. Like I said before, this was before Fate Grand Order came out when Archetype Earth was the #1 baddie. She's not anymore, but she's still very, very high up there. She is something entirely transcendent and divorced from reality. She is an entity entirely distinct and divorced from the concept of life and its conventional categories. The highest order of being that humans are able to comprehend, no other than that which goes by the name of God. It stands apart from the little worlds capable of being grasped by humans. It defies human comprehension itself, something that cannot be unraveled regardless of how hard you think of it. It is the very manifestation of the planet's life form itself. I have said this before and I wanted to say it again and repeat it because I really wanted to nail in the fact that this will qualify her as a high transcendent transcendent being, given the Nasuverse cosmology. She's the strongest of the true ancestors, and the true ancestors are an anthropomorphic manifestation of the planet, elevated to a higher spiritual entity. If they are mistaken to be gods, which would never actually happen, it would limit them to making it difficult for them to use their full potential, as a result of them bearing the status of celestial beings, which is a type of genus strictly superior to the genus of gods. They are effectively elevated to the status beyond gods. She alone holds the greatest authority of all, such that it's an equivalent of having no limits. I don't think I need to say anything more about how high Archetype Earth scales, given again the cosmology and all the proof that I showed in both my other video and this video. Other video being the why Nasu is OP. So I want to recap everything that I talked about with Archetype Earth. Now that we have established that Archetype Earth is scaled to high 1T, I'm gonna go and run through all of her hacks and powers again, since this has been a very long video, to make sure that you guys get it, because it's very important that people know how powerful Archetype Earth is. Hence the reason why I'm making this video, and to like shut up all the Nasu down players. Alright, but before going to her hacks, I want to go over her resistances. Ready, set. I want to be very clear on this. Archetype Earth is not immune to every single hacks universally, but she is immune to nearly all forms of hacks within the Nasuverse, being causality, plot, space-time, whatever you could think of. This is because she exists as a principle beyond those systems. Only the root level or out-of-verse balanced beings could ever truly bypass her. But since we are talking about the verse battle aspect for pulling her out of the Nasuverse and pairing her up against Goku, for example, she would carry all of these hacks resistances with her. Good. I'm glad that all makes sense and you guys understand. Perfect. Some hacks that I did forget to mention is that she does have type 8 and 9 immortality, as the planet's soul, Arcueid's individuality, has its causes of death nullified, making it basically ineffective, or making her impervious to death and causing her lines of death to dissipate. The mystic eyes of enchantment can induce a person of great fear, wipe out their memories, and the people who observe them are, well, furthermore, they're capable of realizing sexual desires of and control of the body of the people who observe them. Ooh, kinky. It should be obvious that everything we've talked about, that she does have an abstract existence. She can control dimensions and ontological properties as well. For example, in the event conversion, as the first stage of the event storage, it flattens everything on the surface texture and all beings into 2 dimensions. Event storage doesn't only influence material essence of matter, but also the story's events themselves to negate the concept of history. Basically, fate manipulation and more. Those taken by Arcueid's event storage never return to the material world and only exist as within the shadows of Arcueid herself. Basically BFR. Everything that exists on the moon must obey the moon's laws, including the moon cell itself, as it is governed by them. Using the conflict authority of the moon and earth, she lowers the abilities of everything that appears before her on the moon to 1/6 of their original potency. No matter how high their magic resistance may be, it is unavoidable, as it is the law of the world itself. I know I talked about this before, but I want to go over it again because this grants her, to dumb it down for you guys, conceptual manipulation, and then resistance, negation, law manipulation, statistic amplification, damage reduction, statistics reduction, and way more. I'm gonna lose my breath. She's on the level of the ultimate ones who don't possess the concept of death. Even when Shiki Ryoji uses her mystic eye, she can't even see the lines of death coming out of her body, which can cut the concept of everything. Man, you know you're overpowered as shit when the mystic eyes of death perception don't work on you. She has type 5A causality, as when the world A cannot be categorized as an individual nor particularity, or rather the system itself. Hence, it cannot be characterized as being alive, as it's perfect and cannot change whatsoever. So let me again be crystal clear with all of you guys. Archetype Earth is by far still one of the most powerful beings in Nasu right now. She has resistance to basically every single hacks you could possibly think of. She has hacks to everything you could possibly think of. So as long as a certain hacks or ability exists within the Nasuverse, Archetype Earth can use that ability. Archetype Earth is scaled to high 1T or high transcendent. She has every known ability in creation and every ability resistance in creation.
Let me be very clear. Archetype Earth is connected to the root as Earth's archetypal record inside the Archetype.
Akasha. She is the manifestation of how the root wrote Earth's principle into existence. The root adjacency explains her transcendence over causality, concepts, plot manipulation, and basically everything. But again, she's only a fragment in the root's infinite system, not the root itself. This is why Void Shiki is actually stronger than Archetype Earth, as Archetype Earth is only a fragment of the root while Void Shiki is directly connected to the root. That's a huge difference. Plus, if there is anybody who truly doesn't know what the root is a metaphysical location that acts as the force that exists at the top of all theories in every dimension and all dimensions, as well as the source of all events and phenomena in the universe. Basically, it just it's comprised of everything in existence. That's what it is, just everything. Anything you could think of, that's what's in the root. But so with that being said, guys, Archetype Earth does in fact solo 99% all of fiction. I don't see any, like, I know like the meme is, oh, Goku solos all of fiction, oh, Saitama solos all of fiction, like, you know what I mean? Archetype Earth is one of those characters you can arguably say does in fact solo 99% of fiction. So next time you hear some idiot say Nasu is only planetary, show them this video, show them my YouTube channel, and then ask them after like showing them it, can the characters you like really solo verses or all of fiction? Anyways, Archetype Earth is a true powerhouse, scaled to high 1T, has every single hacks and hacks resistance, and she's blonde. So unless you can think of a genuine true powerhouse like her, I think she definitely lives up to her name and what the title of the video says, how she can definitely solo 99% of all fiction. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys like this video, drop a like, and well, you know, if we get enough people to tell me to do another character, we might do one. So with that being said, I'm out. Peace.